Okay, we'll see you later, Sienna.
Andrea Winarski is a hockey mom from Markham, Ontario. All three of her children play hockey, and she's concerned about the issue of body checking at the minor league level. She started the organization Safer Hockey as part of a national movement to remove body checking for players between the ages of 11 and 14.
Last November, parents and I, we were watching a game ahead of my son's game where body checking was involved, and we were talking about our concerns. It just didn't look good. I actually went online trying to reassure myself and find some evidence for the fact that body checking was okay and there was a safe way to teach it. And what I found within 20 minutes was an overwhelming volume of medical data that support the fact that body checking is in fact contraindicated, especially for children 11 and 12 years of age. So it just floored me.
Recent studies show that there is a 30% increase in injury once body checking is introduced. 45% of those injuries are concussions. Andrea started her petition after becoming aware of the numbers.
The frustrations have been that, well, Hockey Canada at the executive level is receiving this, and I know they're aware of the petition. It's not something that's really on their radar to make the rule change. I've spoken to them about how to make the rule change. When I talked to the people at Hockey Ontario, they said, no, it needs to come from the grassroots. When I talked to the local community organizations, and I so understand their point because they are volunteer coaches and dads, they're saying, no, we follow the rules that come down from Hockey Canada. So basically, Hockey Canada was set up by the Canadian government, but is not responsible to anyone but their members. We're the members, we're asking for change, but we're being led in a circular route as to who we put our requests into and how we make that change.
Liam is Andrea's oldest son and will be graduating into Pee Wee hockey soon, the level at which Ontario introduces body contact in minor hockey. As he gets more involved in the game he loves, Andrea's concern over the safety of her son continues to grow.
Once I've read all the data in that, I think as a parent, how do I let my kid go into a situation where the incidence of injury is greater than when there's no body checking? The game needs to change because now we know what's happening to these kids.
Hello.
Senior scientist Dr. Charles Tatter specializes in hockey-related brain injuries at Toronto Western Hospital. He's a strong supporter of introducing body checking in minor league hockey at a later age.
Well, body checking is part of the hockey game, but the question is, when should it become part of the game? The current evidence is that 12 is too young for body checking. In my own view, it probably should be 16. The adolescent period is a very important period for brain growth and development. So if that brain is getting whacked around inside the head during that critical period of growth and development, then maybe that brain isn't going to achieve its full potential. And the scars of that could last a lifetime.
In a recent survey involving over 2,000 Canadian adults, 88% said they would support a national plan to outlaw body checking at ages 11 and 12, while almost as many were in favor of eliminating body checking among young teens. Furthermore, the majority said they know someone who has suffered a concussion or serious head, neck, back, or brain injury while playing hockey. It's those numbers that keep Andrea fighting so more children don't become part of that statistic.
Well, first of all, I support body checking.
For more than 30 years, John Gardner has been the president of the Greater Toronto Hockey League. The GTHL is currently the largest minor hockey league in the world, in which 40,000 local kids in the Toronto area are able to play hockey.
I supported initially a Hockey Canada move years ago in which body checking was allowed at right down to minor atom and atom, which are 9 and 10-year-olds. It wasn't like Ty Domi smashing some little kid up against the boards. It was a case of kids bumping into each other. And I will maintain, anybody else that's played hockey I think will tell you, that the younger you teach it, the more it makes its mark. But I think part of the problem today is I have a concern that a lot of coaches didn't play competitive hockey even at the amateur level, and it's awfully hard to teach kids how to do body checking properly if you haven't done it yourself.
I think it's a huge responsibility to put on volunteer coaches to assume that you can teach children who are learning so many skills all at once to safely check, because accidents happen, and putting them in that situation is obviously by the stats and numbers increasing the number of accidental injuries. These children aren't going out doing these body checks trying to induce broken bones and concussion. But the result of having these children with the best intentions of wonderful volunteer coaches who are doing their best to teach them how to do it safely, it's not working. It's not working.
Body checking is not the criminal that you think it is with regards to concussions. Kids can fall on the ice. I mean, you can run into the boards or something of this nature. I mean, there is always an inherent risk when you're playing a team sport.
Safer Hockey in Canada, we understand, we're all parents of hockey players, rep hockey players. We get body contact. We understand the incidental risk of injury. My one son's had his arm broken. That part I'm okay with. That's part of hockey. It's that incremental increase in injury that comes about when body checking is introduced, and the fact that the severe concussions that are caused by body checking, I think it's different than it was 5 years ago. You used to think your bell was rung or it was nothing. The evidence that's come out in the last 5 years really changes my perception on what's actually happening when those children get hit.
Eric Heron is a former teammate of Andrea's son, Liam. He was the victim of a vicious illegal hit where he suffered a concussion, causing him severe headaches.
Eric was playing a game, and in the last period he got an elbow to the head. And then he fell back, and it was sort of a whiplash. I believe he hit the ice, and I think concussion can be like a neck injury.
Eric initially missed over 6 weeks of school and is now starting to get back into his regular day-to-day activities. Eric's injury is similar to the one that caused Pittsburgh Penguins superstar Sidney Crosby to sit out for almost 2 years. Luckily, both Eric and Crosby have made a recovery, but for others, that's not always the case.
In fact, some people never get over the effects of concussion. We've had kids who have had to drop out of school because of memory decline. So that is terrible. Equally terrible is depression that can happen from repeated concussion. And where that plays out is not just because the kid is disappointed that he can't play again, but because of the brain injury. Depression, is a very significant disability following concussion and can lead to terrible consequences.
It's those consequences that have more and more parents speaking out against body checking.
But you know something? You just said the key thing here. People are against it. Well, why are they against it? Why don't they come up with a solution?
Toronto Non-Contact Hockey League was a league started 4 years ago by a bunch of parents who were tired of seeing kids injured playing body checking hockey.
The Toronto Non-Contact Hockey League tries to deliver a safer while equally spirited hockey program for kids 11 to 17. Bill Robertson has been running the league since its inception in 2009 after fearing for his own child's safety.
My son played contact hockey for 1 year when he was 11 years old, and that was enough to make me want to start a hockey league where body checking wasn't allowed. It was a kind of hockey where there were a lot of injuries. We saw a lot of concussions that year on my son's team. Thankfully, he wasn't injured, but many of his friends were injured. When we did start the league, we did approach Hockey Canada. They call us an outlaw league because we didn't fit under their umbrella. And we have faced repercussions for that. One player in particular who came to play, who was invited to play a game with us, when his GTHL AA coach found out, he told him he would be suspended for doing so. So those kind of intimidation tactics we've seen. They can call us whatever we want. We know it's smarter hockey, and I think if you look at the games, we've attracted faster players, we've attracted smarter players, and that makes the game that much better without body checking.
I think it's a terrific option, and if I had that option for my kid in my area, I might put him in. But it makes me question the bigger picture. There aren't the resources, there isn't the ice time, and the duplication to do an entire hockey league to have non-contact. I just don't think, I think it's a Band-Aid solution, but I don't think it's a solution to the problem. I think it's time for Hockey Canada to look at the bigger picture, look at the medical evidence, and protect all the 11, 12-year-olds across the country. Do you like berry smoothies?
Andrea remains determined. and continues to fight for the safety of her children. In the upcoming weeks, she'll be attending a national body checking summit in British Columbia in hopes of eliminating body checking from the game for players under the age of 16.
So, I'm just trying to connect with as many people as possible. I'm starting to think there's a bit more credence to this petition. So we had done it just word of mouth in the beginning. It still is, but it's at 1,200 signatures now. I'm thinking if we could get our numbers up on this, we might be taken a bit more seriously by Hockey Canada.
Well, I think we will see the age at which body checking is allowed gradually raised. And as I said, I'd like to see it raised to about 16. And we will see greater emphasis on avoiding hits to the head, improved coaching, improved player awareness. I think that we can be optimistic that we will tackle this problem.
I think this is like smoking was 30 years ago. I think 30 years from now, this will be a no-brainer. I think more and more people will embrace no body checking hockey because it is the common sense way to go for the health of the kids.
The future of minor league hockey looks optimistic. But whether body checking stays or goes, kids will continue to play the game they love. For the Ryerson Documentary Unit, I'm Brian Hastings.